What's up, everyone? My name is Morsi, and as always, my intention is for you to live with effortless ease. And today, I'd like to share with you my experience of observing my thoughts for an hour during meditation. I'd like to share with you how I felt before, during, and after, to encourage you as well to observe your thoughts. You don't have to do it for an hour. You can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it while you wash the dishes. You can do it while you walk down the park. You can do it while you talk to your friends. You can observe your thoughts anywhere. You can do it right now. You can observe your thoughts right now. But, before I decided, hey, you know what, let's do this. Let's observe my thoughts for an hour, sit still in silence with stillness and just be with myself for an hour. Before I decided to do that, I had already been observing my thoughts, but I noticed within me that I was becoming too unconscious to the dense energies in this world. I was finding myself too absorbed in ideas and beliefs that only pulled me apart from my true nature. When we come here, our consciousness is in disguise. We're disguised as this ego. I'm disguised as Morsi Anderson, my story, my name, my family, all these things about me in this world. My consciousness is in disguise. And we're living the human experience. We're having a good time. This ego is not going anywhere. But I knew that I'm trying to live an adventurous life. I'm trying to be liberated, free. I want to embrace myself, express myself, how I feel, and be completely and connected with my inner self without needing the world to define me first. I don't need this outside world to tell me I'm wise, to tell me I'm beautiful, to tell me I'm powerful beyond measure. I don't need this world to tell me that first. My job is to tell me that first. And then the outside world will mirror that. Then the people I meet will reflect that. Then every single challenge I am faced with, I recognize it as a tool for my awakening. So I'm just letting you know this was my mentality before going in there. And this is why I had so much motivation to be still for an hour. Because for many of us, if you think about, for many people, the conditioned mind, it doesn't want to be still for an hour. Recognize that when you think of the idea of being bored, it's really just your mind trying to attach onto something and identify with it. That's why when we're bored, we grab our phone and go onto social media, or we turn on the television, or maybe we'll listen to music, right? What happens is our mind, it wants to attach onto something, and it wants to be in that, it wants something to do and think about within this outside world. And we don't realize that our power comes from within. Our power comes from withdrawing our consciousness away from those mind forms. And that was my intention, Before this 1 hour meditation of observing my thoughts, I made an intention. And that's very important, because that is also what is going to drive you to stay there for an hour. I made the intention to connect with my higher self. I wanted my higher self to speak to me. I wanted my higher self to remind me of my purpose. Because trust me, this world has a very strategic way of having us forget our purpose when we're unconscious. So I spoke to my higher self and I said, hey, what am I here for? Let me know, let me feel it. Make it be like an undeniable, make it be, undeniable. I wanted to know, I wanted to connect, anything. I said, a spirit can come talk to me. I can have a dream, whatever it would be. Talk to me, tell me what's my purpose. What's my next step in this moment? And I got ready and I sat up, I put on my timer. I like using a timer. And I started to observe my thoughts. Now, in the beginning, it's pretty easy when you start off. It's just like when you're running a marathon. Not so bad when you start running. You've got all the energy in the world, so I was doing very good. What I found myself doing was observing my thoughts. And many times my mind, it would go into that thought, believing it was real. So I would feel that in my body. Whatever, our feelings and our emotions are really just a mirror of what our thoughts are. So whenever I felt that, I just withdrew my consciousness out from that mind form and watched it. For me, what happens when I watch it is it goes away. It's not there anymore. The more I'm conscious of it, it doesn't really bother me. It's just, all right, it's gone. It's like, oh, I'm here? Okay, I'm out. That's how I feel about those thoughts. And so that's what the majority of that moment in that time, that's what it was, me pulling myself out. But there was an undeniable satisfaction in that awareness. It's completely underrated. I don't hear much people talk about this, but being able to pull yourself out and being aware and bringing yourself back to presence, major gift. It's amazing because you have control. You know that nothing outside of this world can make you react to something that's outside of you because you're bringing in presence. Presence brings in space between that reaction and you. So you're present enough to be like, no, this isn't real. I'm pulling myself out of this. I'll find my mind digging deep and finding problems to try and identify with. That's what the ego does, right? Essentially, when we're observing our thoughts, we're observing the ego too. And so we will get pulled into our problems. Let me tell you something. You can try and be in that problem as much as you want, but you're never going to find a solution. The mind is just going to keep creating one. There's no solution. The best solution for me was to tell myself, pull yourself out. You're greater than that. You're more than that. Forgive yourself, right? Forgiveness to others and forgiving yourself is essentially dropping and letting go of that expectation you had of that person and that you had of yourself. To be present is to accept reality for what it is. If I'm thinking of something that I did and I'm getting upset at myself, I remind myself, hey, that's what happens. In that moment, that is what happened. That is what reality was. Accept it and you can make a change. Same thing for people. We can't control people. We're only in charge of the layer of our own reality. We're only in charge of our own relationship with reality. These are the thoughts that were going through my mind as I was, this is what was happening. I'm explaining it to you. It's taking longer, but it was much quicker, right? So as I was doing that, the more I did it, I did feel my body began to heat up. I started to sweat. And I looked that up. It has something to do with chi, the energy, as my body and my mind were aligning. So I most definitely felt my body very heated. But every time I pulled myself out, I was present. And it was just very serene. And my higher self spoke to me through feeling. It wasn't a voice, it was a feeling of certainty. Something came to me. It was like, Morsi, your purpose is presence. Your purpose is to share the power of presence, the beauty and the depth of presence. Your purpose is to always remind yourself and the people around you that no matter what you go through, no matter what you hear about what's going on in the world, your number one mission is presence, right? I felt that. It was very subtle. It was very gentle. It was very kind. And my body was heating. My back was definitely hurting. But I had this motivation. I said, no, 1 hour. 1 hour with myself. 1 hour with my thoughts. 1 hour of me just pulling myself out. Just pulling myself out. Watching the thoughts. Allowing them to be there. I get a lot of questions, about observing thought, different techniques, things like that. I'm always going to respond and say, it's much simpler than you think. Don't overthink observing your thoughts. A thought is there, watch it. because our ego comes in when you're observing your thoughts and you spend that time. You'll notice your ego come in. Watch that ego, because that ego is the one telling you you're doing something wrong. Your ego is the one telling you that you're not supposed to have this thought. The ego is the one telling you you're not supposed to think. That's the ego. Anytime you feel something trying to direct your time with yourself, trying to make it something that it's not at the moment, recognize that as the egoic mind and just watch it. Pull yourself out of it gently. And when I say pull yourself out, it really just means become aware of it. That's it. That happened to me. My egoic mind was telling me, you're not supposed to be thinking about this. You are not supposed to feel this way. My egoic mind was saying, you're not supposed to be thinking thoughts right now. You're supposed to be watching thoughts. I'll tell you that every time I thought of that, it ruined my meditation. It ruined my present moment. And so I learned how to just be with it, be there for 1 hour. 1 hour I did that. I dealt and I learned in that moment how to deal with my outside world problems, how to allow myself to sweat and feel pain, how to allow my mind to go, but me understanding that the power of being an observer, of being a watcher, is beyond words. To be a watcher, observer, it's only the best way that I can explain it, but it's much deeper than that. Once you meditate, once you connect with your higher self, it's more deeper than that. But you'll hear many people say be the observer as the first step for your consciousness to recognize itself, for your consciousness to not be so identified in mental and physical forms in this world. After my 1 hour meditation, I went to sleep. Woke up, I felt wonderful. That hour-long meditation the night before lasted to the day, even to this day. I've meditated again. I've been meditating every night for an hour. So it's really making me feel more secure, reminding me of my purpose, more aligned with my inner self. It's reminding me that all I need in this world is my inner self. My inner self will guide me. We can call it our intuition, our higher self, whatever you want to call it. The next day, nothing really bothered me. There was loudness, there was things that I used to recognize, that would annoy me, but I was just present. I had to wash the dishes. At first I was like, ugh. But when you're present and you have to wash the dishes, it's not that bad. When you're present and you have to do something, you're there. You're not worried about, what do I have to do next? What do I have to do before? What do I have to do next? You're just there. You're within it. And you're creating space. I went for a walk the next day and I felt a connection with everything around me, with the trees, with the wind, with the sun. I knew they were alive. I knew they were breathing just like me. I went to a park, bumped into someone who clearly read my aura. He said he saw the light in me, and also my mom. I really felt like, whoa, this is my higher self coming to me, because he spoke to me and he said, your mom's here to make sure your light stays lit, stays bright. I felt myself want to cry a little because I never had a stranger pinpoint something so perfectly in my life. That's why you see me here, right? 2020, I'm still home with my mom, right? I just thought that was beautiful. That was my higher self speaking to me. I had more of a conversation with this person, and it was more of a confirmation that I'm on the right track, that I need to continue to make sure that everything I do is to remain connected with my inner self, whether it's something I eat, whether it's something as simple as picking the color shoes I want to get, whether it's something as simple as whether I want to listen to music or not. Do I want to listen to nature sounds outside, or do I want to come inside and listen to something else? It doesn't matter, right? The goal is everything I do, get used to connecting with my inner self. And that's really what I encourage you to do. 1 hour long meditation. You don't have to do it for an hour. You could do it for 30 minutes. You can do it for 10 minutes. I didn't start off with an hour. I started off with a minute, then I did 5 minutes, then I did 10 minutes, then I did 15, 30. You'll recognize that you are gonna end up figuring out your own rules. I ended up choosing my own rules throughout the entire meditation. You know, one moment I would choose to focus on silence. The next moment I would choose to focus within. You make up your own rules. This is your life. You know, this story I'm giving you is an inspiration for you to go within. This world is going to continue, keep laying these dense energies on your powerful and very light body. Until you connect with your inner self, you transcend that. And when I say transcend means you find the truth so much within you that you can recognize the lies around you, the fakeness around you. You recognize what's not true so easily that all you do is transcend it. Transcendence is natural. You don't even have to try. Sit still with yourself. If you find that you're not manifesting, it's because you haven't spent enough time with yourself. So I encourage you, continue to observe your thoughts. Continue to recognize that the things in this world, whatever your mind identifies with it, your thoughts, your physical body, your beliefs, your challenges, your problems, they are not you. This is just an avatar. It's a way to get around in this world. So observe the ego so you can live your best life, man. That's all I have to say. So my name is Morsi. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out the 2 on the screen. And as always, man, live with effortless ease. Until next time, peace.